everyone, my name is Eula and today we're going to read Flat Stanley story starting at Chapter 3 in the park. Today Stanley and Arthur and the Prince Horace were going to go to the park. So let's see what happened for today in the park. Now, are you ready for read this one book with a lot of stories? Now here we go. And first we can read Flat Stanley Chapter 3 in the Park. Everyone stepped late and enjoyed a large breakfast, particularly the elephant, who were 2 more pounds of hamburger, 5 bananas, and 3 loaves of bread. Then, since all the lamb chops enjoyed the tennis, they set out with the rackets for the courts in the big park close by. Aware that genie clothes will puzzle people, Prince Horace borrowed sacks of a shirt from Stanley and came along. In the street, they met Leopard Jones, an old cordial friend of Mr. Lambchop's, whom they had not seen of quite some time. Nice running into you, George. And you too, Mrs. Lambchop, said Mr. Jones. Hello, Arthur. Hello, Stanley. Aren't you one who was flat, rounded out nicely, I see? You always have a fine memory, Rappa, Mr. Lambchop said. Let me introduce our honest Prince Horace. He's a foreign student here to study our ways. How do you do, said the genie. I am Fuzzy Mustafa Eslam Measy Milik Nemord Harris. How do you do, Mr. Jones said. Well, I must be off. Goodbye, lamb chops. I'm nice to have meet you, Prince Fuzzy Mustafa Eslam Measy Milik Nemord Harris. He does have a wonderful memory, Mrs. Lambchop said as Mr. Jones had walked away. They set out for the park again. How it would surprise Mr. Jones to learn the Prince Horace is a genie, Mrs. Lambchop remarked. The whole world would be amazed. Gracious, we'd be all famous, I'm sure. I was famous once, when I was flat, Stanley said. I didn't like this after a while. I remember, said Mrs. Lambchop. Nevertheless, I wish I knew myself what being famous felt like. Prince Horace looked at Stanley in the questioning way, and Stanley gave a little nod, and Genie House smiled and nodded back. They were just passing the famous Museum of Art, and one of the city's most important buildings, to a towel bus filled with the visitors from foreign countries had stopped before the museum, and guide was lecturing the passengers through the megaphone. Over where those trees are, that's our great city park, he announced. Here on the right is the famous Museum of Art, full with the great paintings and statues and what a surprise! We are in luck today, folks. What Miss George Lambchop coming right towards us. Harriet Lambchop herself in the person right there with tennis racket. The tourists cried out and pleased astonishment, turning their seats to stare where the guys were pointing. What I means you, Harriet, said Mr. Lambchop. I think so, said Mrs. Lambchop. Oh my goodness, they're coming. The tourist was rushing from the bus. A Japanese family reached Mrs. Lambchop first, all with the cameras. Please, Lambchop ladies, said the husband, bowing politely. Honored to take a picture, yes? Of course, said Mrs. Lambchop. I hope you're enjoying our country, but why my picture? I'm not, no, famous lamb chop lady, cried the Japanese family, taking pictures as fast as they could. Mrs. Lambchop understood suddenly that her wish had been granted. Thank you, Prince Horace, she said. What fun. She posed graciously all the tours, and signed dozens of autographs. In the park, she was recognized again and had to do more posing and singing. It was now mid-morning, and all the park tennis courts are occupied, but the lamb chop's disappointment heavily eased, and they saw a crowd gathered by one court and learned that Tom McGraw, the world's best tennis player, was about to lecture and demonstrate his strokes. Tom McGraw was known for his terrible temper and bad manners, but the lamb chop were eager to see him nevertheless. With Prince Horace, they squeezed through the court next to the TV news cameras covering the event. None of you can be the great tennis player like me, said Tom McGraw was saying, but at last you can have fun thrill of seeing me. A little old lady in the crowd gave a tiny sneeze and glared at her. What's the matter with you, Granny? Said the old lady, burst into tears, and friends led her away. What a mean fellow, Prince Horace whispered to Stanley. I can't stand old sneezing people, said Tom McGraw. Okay, now I'll show you how to hit my great forehead. First, hold it on, Tom, said the TV news director. We have just spotted Harold Lambchop here. What a break. Maybe she'll say a few words for our cameras. Even Tom McGraw was impressed. The Harold Lambchop? Wow. Swing those cameras away, fellows. The director ran over to Miss Lambchop, holding out the microphone. Wonderful to see you, he said. Everybody want to know your views. Favorite color? What about the foreign situation? Do you sleep in pajamas or a nightgown? Isn't that rather personal? Said Mr. Lambchop. George, please. Mrs. Lambchop spoke into the microphone. Thank you all for your kind welcome, she said. I would just like to say that I'm glad my friends are having such a lovely day in this delightful park. The crowd cheered and waved, and Mrs. Lambchop waved back and blew kisses. Jealous was at the attention she was getting. Tom McGraw had whacked the tennis ball over a fence behind him. Noticing Mrs. Lambchop spoke again, noticing. Yes, into the microphone. And now let us give the great champion our audition. Yay! Groaned Tom McGraw. When TV cameras have swung back to him and he went on. I need a volunteer so that I can demonstrate how terrible most players are compared to me. Mr. Lambchop had thought it would be daring to share our court with a champion. Signaling with his racket, he stepped forward. Tom McGraw had handed him some balls. Okay, I'll try, serve. Mr. Lambchop prepared to serve. He's got felt wrong, Tom McGraw shouted, and his grip is wrong. Everything is wrong. This made Mr. Lambchop so nervous that he served 2 balls into the net instead of it. Terrible, terrible. Watch how I do it, said Tom McGraw, running to far side of a court. From there he saw 5 balls so hard as fast that Mr. Lambchop missed the first hour entirely. The 5th one knocked the racket off head. Ha ha, laughed Tom McGraw. Now let's see you run. He began hitting whizzing foreheads and backhands and sharp angles across the court, making Mr. Lambchop look foolish. And he raced back and forth, getting really red in the face, missing particularly very shot. And the other Lambchops grew angry, as did Prince Horace. This need not continue, he whispered to Stanley. Just then, Mr. Lambchop came skidding to help before them, banging his knee with a racket, and missed yet another champion powerful shots. Ha ha, this is how I give lessons, shouted Tom McGraw. Mr. Lambchop looked at Stanley and then Prince Horace. Okay, said Stanley, and Jamie have smiled a little smile. Thank you, said said Mr. Lambchop. Returning to the court, he called out the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I will try my serve again. Across the net, Tom McGurk gave a nasty laugh and slashed his big racket through the air. Mr. Lambchop had served a ball not into the net as time, but fast as the ball and right there it was supposed to go. Tom McGurk's mouth had fallen open and the ball whizzed past him. Out, he shouted. The balls are out. Boys rose from the crowd. Shame on you. The ball was in. What a lair. In. Tom McGurk had shook his fist. I'll bet you can't do that again. Mr. Lambchop had served 3 more balls, each even faster than the first one, and as perfectly placed. Tom McGurk could not even touch them, though the last one bounced up into his nose. Then Mr. Lambchop had railed with him, gliding swiftly about the court and returning every shot with ease. With powerful foreheads, he made Tom McGurk run from the corner to corner with little drop shots. He drew the champion up to the net and loved high shots to send him racing back again. Nobody has ever played such a great tennis as Mr. Lambchop played that day. Tom McGurk was soon so tired and too angry to continue. He threw down his racket and jumped on it. You're just lucky, he yelled. Besides, I have a cold, and the sun was in my eyes the whole time. Pushing that weight toward the crowd, he ran out of the park. There was tremendous cheering for Mr. Lambchop, who just smiled modestly and waved a racket in a friendly way. Then he came to where another Lambchop and Prince Harras were standing to the TV news director. You're really good, the director said. Frankly, you looked terrible when you first went out there. It takes me a while to warm up, said Mr. Lambchop, and lead his family's way. Leaving the park, Mrs. Lambchop had signed many more autographs, and a reporter of a famous magazine was waiting interview at her home. You'll be on the cover of our next issue, said the reporter. How much do you weigh? And will be their movie about your life you gave your first kiss? None of your business, said Mr. Lambchop, and the reporter went away. They watched the evening news on the television, hoping Mr. Lambchop's tennis will be shown, but only Mrs. Lambchop appeared, with Tom McGurk in the background. They celebrated Harry Lambchop in the park today, and the newscaster, after which they closed up the Mrs. Lambchop saying, I'm glad my fans are having such a lovely day, and that was that. Then it was interrupted several times by phone calls of Mrs. Lambchop from the newspaper of a television people. The call spotted Mr. Lambchop, but not the elephant, who ate 4 pork chops, a jar of a peanut butter, a quart of potato salad, and a rubber mat from under his dish. Yes, elephant had ate a lot. So let's start reading at chapter 4. The brothers fly from tomorrow. So maybe from Prince Harras have made Stanley and Arthur fly the sky. So let's see Stanley and Arthur fly the sky for tomorrow. And did you have fun? Yellow's English Country will be coming back with some new books and new stories now. Have a nice day now. Bye bye everyone.